Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. 7 minutes past the hour on this 15th day of October. We call this one Tell the Truth Tuesday on hashtag Truth Be Told. Yours truly, Joe Dupree, in the building from 100 BLK, the Black Station, at www.the100blk.com. With me is my brother from another mother. You know him from the open line online and keeping it real with Reverend Al Sharpton at 107.5 WBLS in New York City. It's Brother Fatim in the building. Good morning, my brother. How you doing?
Good, I'm good. I'm good. A little sentimental this morning. I put a reel up and, I used the song Careless Whisper. I've been putting a lot of reels up lately. My cousin rapping, my daughters, and I put another reel up on my late wife, Hanifa. And it got a little touchy, but sometimes that's that self-cleansing that you got to do, turn within and stuff like that. But I'm good, even though I'm happy. I'm just mellow because, like I said, you take everything in stride, do sports, good, win or lose, But we had a good day in New York yesterday. Both the Mets and the Yankees won. The Yankees did what they had to do in their first game against Cleveland in the boogie down in the Bronx. And they won their game against the Cleveland Guardians and the New York Mets, even up the series out in Los Angeles by beating the Dodgers. They want to send a message since the Dodgers put their foot up the Mets' backside in the first game Sunday. So we sent the message to say, we are the New York Mets. Now you got to come to Flushing, Queens. You coming back home where you originally started, Dodgers. So we'll see where this goes. The Dodgers are no slouches. This is the marbles are here to get to the World Series. So let's see where we go.
So what is your prediction? Who do you believe is going to wind up?
I mean, right now, I think the Yankees are definitely going to the World Series. I don't think the Guardians are going to beat them unless they pitch and break down. The Mets has just been their year. They've been this year and they've been able to beat the top team. So I think it's going to be tough for the Mets. And it's, a mistake here or a mistake there can break it for either team. But I think the Dodgers know that I think they have more pressure on them. The Mets don't have a lot of pressure on them. And the reason why, they started 0-5. They were looked at as by June that they might be sellers in the sense of selling players because they were not going to make the playoff. The Dodgers, on the other hand, spent $1 billion. They went out and got Ohtani. They spend money on pitchers, so they have the monkey on their back. They 2 years in a row, they went out there and spent money. And last year, they didn't make it. And now right now is 1-1. This is not a cakewalk. So they got more pressure and they're coming into Citi Field. And Citi Field in New York rocks. But they are the LA Dodgers. They are no slouches. So let's be real about that. But they have more pressure on them. And when you have pressure on you, that's when you play tense and you play tight. And sometimes you put more pressure and you wind up being your own worst enemy.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. This is very true. It is homecoming, better known as grown coming week at Grambling State University, where everybody is somebody. And of course, on the bluff at Southern University. So two of the biggest HBCUs in Louisiana and probably in the world. Outside of, I know that since Vice President Kamala Harris has graduated from Howard, she's put Howard University on the map. And most folks in the HBCU world only know really about a few schools. It's Grambling, Southern. Some folks know North Carolina A&T. They know FAMU, and they know Howard. There's a lot of HBCUs out there, but those are
somebody
the ones
getting pregnant. Somebody getting pregnant this weekend. Somebody getting pregnant this weekend. Somebody getting pregnant this weekend. It's a fact. Somebody getting pregnant this weekend at one of these HBCU homecomings. Because I know what it's like. I've been to Howard. I've been to homecomings. I know what it's about. Oh, let's be real. Somebody is getting pregnant. Just like when people go to college, somebody getting pregnant.
Well,
Well, what? Somebody getting pregnant.
Somebody, it seems to be no matter what's going on, every day somebody's getting pregnant somewhere. I will concur. I will concur with you on that one, Brother Fatim. Somebody somewhere is definitely pregnant.
Rambling. They getting pregnant
right now.
Somebody got their legs up in the air right now. Somebody got their legs up in the air, they tail up in the air. Damn right. That's life, baby. That's good life. Hit that song, good life, baby.
12 minutes past the hour. Last night, I fell asleep on who won the football game? Was it the Bills or the Jets?
Bills won that game, man. I mean, it was a good game. It was a good game. I see some faults on the Jets. The Jets honestly could have won that game. Aaron Rodgers, I mean, he put there's one play, and I have not watched ESPN this morning, but there's one play that's going to definitely make the highlight film. He threw a laser beam, and he threw it, and I don't know how he hit his man. He hit his man between the defenders, and the guy in the front looked, and he didn't realize the ball was in the guy he was covering his hand. That's how Aaron Rodgers hit that man.
Wow.
But the referees, there was some calls that were a little shaky. Field goal kicking, and the Jets fumbled. They fumbled, they coughed up the ball. So if they can get by those mistakes, they would be a better team. But unfortunately, like my boy Tony Love said to me last night, they're the Jets. That's the Jets right now. So that's who they are right now. Is what it is. But I watched everything, and I was in the streets last night.
Okay.
Yeah,
what was happening?
Talking to a couple of my peeps. You understand what I'm saying?
What was happening in the streets, brother?
Brother, a little one-on-one conversation. What's happening?
I understand.
A little one-on-one conversation, brother. What's happening? A little one-on-one female conversation. What's the problem?
About being in the streets and finding out what's going on in your community.
Oh, well, you got to be in the streets to find out what's going on. I can't tell you what's in the streets, man. You got to find out what's in the streets. You in the street, man. You're a home hubby. You understand what I'm saying? I used to be a home hubby.
I used to be a home hubby. Listen, folks who know me know I'm in the community. I'm in the streets.
You're in the community. You ain't in the streets.
No.
There's a difference being in the community. You ain't in them streets. Bring your wife on here and let her answer. Or you in the streets? You ain't in no damn streets.
I'm not reckless in the streets. I think that's see there's adjectives and adverbs that can describe how you get out in them streets.
Just don't want to give up that title. You ain't in the streets.
I'm not reckless or ruthless out in them streets, but hey, I can be and have been and are quite often with my ear and myself in them streets. So let me say the following. The reason I wanted to say that is tonight, for those who listening that are in the area of where I am known as Mr. Officer, Opelousas, Louisiana, we are having a community conversations tonight with the Chief of Police, with Chief Greg LeBlanc. So that starts at 5:30. It's from 5:30 to 7:30, where 2 hours, the Chief offers himself up to listen to you, the citizens, about how you feel about how policing is going on in our community. I think this is a valuable tool that a police chief says, listen, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to listen. Not only am I going to listen and take question, I'm going to take the criticism, and we're going to try to come up with solutions to make our community safer, because we don't protect and serve at Opelousas. Our chief has a simple philosophy. It is service through protection. We are there to serve the community by protecting the community. And I love the way he does that. And tonight is the night that we will come together and listen to the citizens. So come to City Hall. Come to City Hall tonight from 5:30 to 7:30. And we'll have some good food, and we'll have some good conversations as we sit down with the chief. And we have this thing we call community conversations. It's going to be, we try to do it twice a year, where we can let you know, as the citizens of the municipality that we police, how the numbers are looking, how the numbers have either went up or went down, and what you feel we need to do better to make the community we serve a better place to live and a safer place. So that's community conversations tonight.
Quick question. Sir. This police chief, is he the sheriff or the police?
He's the police chief. He's not the sheriff. He's not.
Okay, so do they work? I mean, I know they don't work hand in hand. They own independent kind of entities, but do the sheriff do the same thing? I mean, this is a
Does
good
he
thing
do
that the
like
police do that, but the sheriff, in the South,
it's kind of. I'll be honest with you. It's kind of logistically, and here's why.
I'm
I
going
live.
somewhere with this.
I feel that logistically, it's a little bit hard for the sheriff, and here's why. The sheriff is the chief law enforcement officer for the county.
Correct.
Within the county, there may be like in St. Landry Parish, there is multiple cities. Like you have the city of Opelousas, which is a pretty nice sized municipality. You have the city of Eunice, which is a nice sized municipality. You have different cities. So, and different cities may have different needs. Believe it or not, even though it's all in St. Landry Parish, Eunice is totally unique in its own way from Opelousas. And Eunice has its own police chief and its own police force as Opelousas because of the size of the city. So it's just like in Lafayette. Lafayette, the city I live in, it has its own police force, but it has other municipalities that are a part of Lafayette Parish. Like it has Broussard and Youngsville and Carencro. So it has its own cities within the parish, or what you would call the county. So I think the sheriff should do this. I've seen the sheriff do it, but it's more difficult for a sheriff to do it because you have to understand the sheriff patrols Opelousas City Police only takes care of Opelousas City. They don't go into Eunice. However, the sheriff patrols the whole county. So he would have to be calling a meeting where he would talk to people in Opelousas because he affects Opelousas and also other cities. So I'm not saying it's impossible. I've seen sheriffs do it. It's just kind of difficult.
All right. So let me just say this. If there's any sheriff, I mean, I can bring on a sheriff from Darlington, out of Darlington, South Carolina, and I'll send this out there because I was going somewhere with this.
Okay.
First of all, let me commend the police chief what they're doing out there. I don't live out there. I commend the police chief. Anytime the police are trying to do these kind of conversations, especially when there's not a shooting right away or whatever, I commend them. But Joe, unfortunately, and I appreciate you explaining it. Unfortunately, I'm a hard cookie to sell. And I think that's a bunch of crap. And I'm going to tell you why. I don't give a damn how hard it is. It ain't hard for him to get out there when it's time to get the vote, to be voted in as the sheriff. So if you can go out there and solicit and talk to people to get them to vote for you when it's time for your re-election or election to be sheriff, then I know you deal with that, but you can put out there, even though you said it can be difficult, the bottom line is you make the effort, because when you make the effort, the people gain trust in you. And that's what I was getting to. I was getting to that point. I don't want to got it. So
I agree with that.
That's what I'm saying. So
now what I can't say, and here's why I don't do it. A, I don't work for the sheriff. B,
I can say it, right? I can say it.
I can only talk for the entity I work for, and I do work for Opelousas Police Department. And I'm very proud that twice a year that our chief offers himself up for a few hours to sit down with the citizens, because once again, we're not trying to be like nobody else. That's why a lot of folks say protect and serve. On all our vehicles, it says protection through service. And he's big on us serving the community. And we see the changes that have happened in the community that we serve. We see the crime rates go down. We see where there's more communication between law enforcement, and we know the people that we are serving. People know names of the officers. People know me. People know other officers, and they know us to the point that they can pull us to the side and talk to us one-on-one when we're in uniform or when we're not in uniform. And I just think that when it comes down to it, on a small scale, you can actually do this on a larger scale to make it that law enforcement officers are engaged with the community, and it's not so much us against them. That's what I wanted to say yesterday.
So then make it look more unified. So that's take my question there today. My question would be, how do you work with the sheriff department? Explain the jurisdiction to make sure that people understand this. because you got to realize, and it's real. The police, when you talk about state troopers, the sheriff, and the police, the sheriff dictates. You understand what I'm saying? The sheriff is over that, over the police to a degree. That's not it. Well, Joe, let's be real. When the sheriff come on the scene, if he's going to take control of this, the sheriff is the main guy of the county. So what I'm saying, I don't want to. The bottom line is, my question is to the police chief. Thank you for the work that you do. Thank you for doing this. My question is, how are you working with other law enforcement agencies, the sheriff department and others, that we can have more of this dialogue? It started with you, and we commend you, but there's also you as a law enforcement officer can have more juice or respect by speaking to the sheriff and say the people are saying, maybe we need to do this jointly once a year or whatever. But that's all I'm saying. Let's build bridges. I don't want to hear this blah, blah, blah stuff, because that's
hold on, and watch this. I have in the parish. Now, once again, I work in a different place than where I live. I can honestly say I have seen it done here in Lafayette Parish. We used to have a joint meeting with the 3 heads of law enforcement in this municipality. We had the sheriff, we had the police chief, and we had the city marshal. Now, because the city seed, the county seed is normally the largest city in the county, we didn't have any of the other police chiefs from the smaller municipalities. Our sheriff in Lafayette used to meet with all the police chiefs with the smaller municipality to have an understanding of the broader picture of, in Lafayette Parish. But we did have a community conversations a couple of times with the sheriff, the local police chief, and the local city marshal. And the reason is to have those 3 heads of law enforcement together, because each one of them, a lot of folks don't even know the difference. Most folks see is when they see a uniform, a badge, and a gun, they say they're going to police, not knowing that could be a marshal, that could be a constable, that could be a sheriff. Most people call everybody the police. It's not, oh, he's a sheriff. Nobody even knows the difference. They don't even know.
Well, let me just explain why this is important, Joe. Why this is important? Because this answers a lot of questions. It builds morale. It builds trust. It builds a better way of recruiting people. So for me, I'm glad that you point that out. I don't want no excuses. This is something that should be done because it helps the community, it helps the police, and it shows by example how other police departments across the country take the bull by the horn. If they are doing that, thank good that they did that, and I hope that they continue to do that. But tonight, I'm saying beautiful what they're doing. Thank you, applaud. But I'm still saying let's broaden this, because you can't just do things in silos. Let's broaden this so there can be a dialogue and a relationship that everything is covered, to the point of knowing one another, to recruitment, to trust. And when we do this, it makes it better for all law enforcement, and it makes it better for everybody in the community that don't even know that there's different responsibilities for these law enforcement, but now they can do that. That's all I'm saying. Let's take this and be positive. I don't really want to hear no excuses on this one. I'm sorry.
No. Look, I'm not making, first of all, I cannot, like I said, I'm saying this for legal reasons also. Only person I can speak for, being the public information officer for the police department in Opelousas, I can't speak for the sheriff. I'm pretty sure that the sheriff, who is Bobby Guitros, has his methods of getting information to the community. He may not do exactly what we're doing right now, but we're trying to do some things that we feel would help the citizens of Opelousas. And we're doing it for the reason of, that's one of the reasons I think the chief hired me, to come in with a different approach to how information is disseminated amongst the people who are being served. Because many a times, once again, he came and got me. Now, and I am a law enforcement officer, but a lot of folks don't know I'm a law enforcement officer, not one that was from the ranks of being a young man, 18, work my way up in the ranks. He came and got a media guy, and that's what I do. I'm literally a law enforcement officer that deals strictly with the media, with the press releases, with how information is disseminated when certain crimes are committed, that information needs to get out to the media. So he found a guy who knows how to operate with the media, because I am a media guy. And I was fortunate enough that I was able to go through the training to get certified as a law enforcement officer. So really what I am is I'm a media guy who knows how to be a policeman because I went through the training. But I'm a media guy at heart, and he takes me to deal with all his media issues. And I think that's smart. I think that not only did he do that, the sheriff in Lafayette Parish, his public information officer is a former TV personality that he has. That I don't think she went to the academy to get her post certification, but nevertheless, he has a individual who knows how to deal with the media, that is the public information officer that deals with the media. And sometimes, and especially in this information age, you got to have the right person who knows how to get the information out and get it out the right way, where it won't be perceived the wrong way. Because as you know, it's so easy for somebody to say something and it be completely twisted, and it causes panic amongst the public.
So I got a question for you. Sorry, Joe, that I'm pushing today. I'm sorry, but I'm doing it.
No, push.
So you're the community guy. You're the community guy. And you may, and again, I don't know the answer, y'all. So when I ask this, Joe may have the answer, and it may be like, oh, Fatin got egg. It's not about egg in my face. I'm just serious about this. So you're the communication guy. Right. You're also a guy that's come out of radio.
Right.
Have you solicited some of the radio stations across the parish that you work in to have the chief on before this event tonight to talk about this event?
Yes, we have done that. We've done that.
Not ads, the police chief going in and talking to the community.
Yeah, we've done that. We've done that. We've done that. Not only that, we've done it on TV. We put the information out. That's another thing. See,
not the information, what's happening, talking to the community. That's what I'm saying.
Yes. So let me explain this from my point of view. And I'm going to try to explain it the best way I can. Many a times when you're dealing with traditional law enforcement folks and the media normally are at odds with one another constantly. You know, most public servants are at odds with the media, because the media's job in most cases is to find out all the juicy dirt on what's going on at City Hall or in public aficionados, and put it out there where folks say, not the good news, because most of us don't like hearing good news. We like hearing the doom and gloom. So, you know, most people who work in public service understand that they have to hold themselves to a higher standard, but know that if there's any even appearance of an impropriety, folks are going to do what you do. They're going to push. They're going to drill down. You live in a media market where they hound public officials. You know, let's just be honest about it. And look what's going on right now with your mayor. Let's go there. Let's go there. It's the media who, first of all, if there was anything, if there's even the appearance of anything, the media gets on it and it puts it out there to put it in people's minds where questions starts being asked. And that's the media's job. You know, I wish the media would do that more often across the board and be fair and balanced with it. I think they pick and choose folks that they want to go after. And they go after them, and they go after them with a vengeance. Yeah. But, you know, it's good. It's good when there is a balance. It's good when you have some inside players that work and know how to work the system and know how to at least make it that it's an even playing field when information gets put out. In these days and time, this propaganda machine is a monster. Hold it. Brother Malcolm says it best. Hold it. Before I let you go there and you can have the mic. I have that actually somewhere in my studio. I'm trying to look and see. I can't turn no camera around, but I have it in my studio where Brother Malcolm said the media will have you hating those you should be loving and loving those you should be hating. The media, not the media, will have you feeling this way. So go ahead, Brother Fatim. The mic.
Yeah, well, I'm not. Right now, I'm not worried about the media. Right now, I'm worried about law enforcement, and I'm going to Mr. Sammy. And again, I commend what he's doing today. I'm not tearing that down, but we need Joe, because he's doing that. I commend that, but that don't take away the breakdown. I remember we bringing on the brother that the brother that made the song, or his cousin or whatever, about the police that surrounded his house. I don't forget these things. So when I see these things and the long track history of the police, I don't give a damn. It's nice, but it's so much track history. So I just don't have no softness right now. I see a better job to the police doing their job. Let me just get to Mr. Sammy's comment, because I want to get to Mr. Sammy's comment. But what I'm just giving people where I'm coming from this morning. I commend him. I said that more than often.
Right.
You said I got to go to Mr. Sammy's comment.
Hold it. I want you to get to Mr. Sammy's comment. But before we get there, once again, I think it goes back to what we said yesterday. You know, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. I'm glad that you're commending him. We didn't do this for your applause or for you to commend us. We did it because it's right. See, that's fine. We're not doing
that's
this
fine,
for applause. We need to, we need to, and we need to, as black men, accept the following thing: that there are black men out here, because we do have a black police chief, who are concerned about the community, and all us police officers ain't out here trying to beat folks down, do folks wrong, though there are some that do it, and we need to call them out immediately, and we need to get them off the force, period. So continue. Go with your comment, please.
Yeah, so, all right, so, yeah, that's fine. But until I start hearing more of them in the community and pushing that, and more of the good ones doing that, like yourself and what else, then it falls short on deaf ears to me. It just does. Dude, I'm like this with the mayor. I'm like this with the police chief in New York.
Brother, I'm glad you that way, and I don't have a problem. And I know you like this, but Brother Fatim, at the end of the day, I can only control my actions, and for me to speak about another man's actions, I can't say that. All I can tell you is, I personally want to throw
let's
up
deal with the
reality
out here, Joe.
Hold on. I personally, I know that's the reality.
Yeah, but you the one that just said it, that everybody don't do it, but a lot of the good ones don't come up and speak.
They don't.
Like Mark Claxton came on here. He was one of the good ones. He didn't wait till he retired. He was in the police. He caught hell. Even Mayor Adams, when he was a police officer, he was part of those fraternal organizations. He caught hell. That's what I'm saying. I don't want them to catch hell, but they catch hell because they go up against the blue wall of silence, bro. And that's what I'm saying. Right. If you're going to call out good officers and they are good officers, then prove that you're good officers when shit happens. That's what I'm saying.
And Brother Fatim, as I said, I can only speak for myself.
I got that, Joe. I'm not worrying about you personally. I'm talking about the broad brush, bro.
I know. And listen, and within the broad brush, there are a lot more good officers than there are bad officers. However, Brother Fatim, just like you and I, they have responsibilities and families to take care of. And guess what? Sometimes when you go up against folks, what you really do is put your family, your pension, and your livelihood into the crosshairs, because all of a sudden you want to
sell your soul for the dollar then.
Oh, hold up. A lot of folks sell themselves for the dollars.
That's what I'm saying.
Hold it. Not only in policing, in entertainment, in media, there's a lot of folks that sell their soul for the dollar.
So they do that. That's no excuse, Joe. I don't give a damn if they do it. That don't mean it's right. So I don't think they can. That's pacifying the situation. That's pacifying the situation. I don't give a damn. And who does it? The bottom line is, if it's being done, that's crazy. If you saying that you out there riding around with something about protect and serve and respect. You talking about I'm doing this for the community, but you ain't doing it because I'm worried about my pension, this, that, and the other. That's what I'm saying. Let me just get to Mr. Sam. I'm trying to get to Mr. Sammy.
Yeah, come on.
So he says most young black men only come in contact with law enforcement is in a negative way, and they don't trust them. And that's what I've been trying to get to, is that that's why I commend. Again, we have to say we commend, because the same way we criticize, we have to commend when things are being done on a good way. But I don't give, if you got to clean up the beach and you start with one pebble, and that's a good thing, there's a lot more work that got to be done, bro.
Oh yeah, I agree. I agree with that, brother Fatim. But brother Fatim, let me ask you this: how many good citizens who aren't police see dirt and crime and mess happen every day, and they stay silent? So are they not good citizens? Okay,
that's wrong too.
So what I'm saying is hold it. We paint, and don't get me wrong, I'm not defending anybody. I can only speak for myself. I could care less about other folks. I can tell you about Joe. I can tell you about what Joe does. I can say this though. I know
we ain't talking about Joe. We're talking about police, bro. We're talking about police.
Hold it. And if you're talking about police, at the same token, you got to talk about people who every day watch crime and mess go on in their community and hold a silent ear and don't say anything.
Like KC says, if you stay silent, you are not a good officer. That's it. I don't want to hear no compromise. I'm not going to take no bullshit. I'm not going to do that. I'm doing what Malcolm, you quoted Malcolm. Malcolm would have said what this is. I don't want to hear. That's why when we talked to the police officer Serpico, and when he came on our show, because he said, I don't do a lot of shows, because they a lot of fluff. This man took a bullet in the face because he stood up and did the right thing, bro. And that's what I'm talking about.
Hold it. And brother, that happens. Listen, when folks do the right thing, and then watch this, then they're targeted. Like you just brought up. You brought up Mayor Eric Adams, who, from all what I hear, not only from you, but from other folks from New York who are fellow officers, man, Eric Adams was a hell of a police officer. He was a police officer that was about the people and about doing right. And guess what? There's a lot of folks out there that don't like that, because they know that there are factions in the police and law enforcement that are literally the new gangs. They're the new criminals. They done figured out the way to, just like certain people in politics, they done figured out their way to wiggle in politics, and all they are political thugs. They are political thugs and criminals. They are political thugs and criminals who don't give a damn about you and I. They're only in politics to do thuggish things to make themselves better, and they could care less about you and I, the American people. That's the truth about it. That's the truth. See, watch this. If we go even deeper, it's the enablers who some have elected. Oh, they talk the talk and tell you about how certain folks aren't about certain things, and they find certain issues, certain hot button issues, to make you say, oh, this is my guy, he's my champion. Let me be the hot button issue on this abortion issue. But every other issue is literally them thugging the American people, because they don't give a damn about the American people. All they care about is themselves and those that support their agenda, and they move forward into doing things that do not help you and I.
Well, unfortunately, when I watch these talk shows, I've been in this game for a long time. And I remember when Geraldo and all these other talk shows would have this conversation, there was always somebody up there that want to turn this into a bigger thing. I'm talking about police now. And what I'm staying on it. Black people, Black men, Black women. We just did a program. You promote our show. Thank you, Joe. You promote our show. Our co-host Larry Ham, chairman for the People's Organization for Progress, also known as POP in New Jersey, is working with the Asian community, because the family called the police in New Jersey and said that the person, their loved one, was having a mental breakdown. Don't send the police. But the dispatcher said, we have to send the police with the EMS. Police comes, the body cams, breaks the door down, shoots the woman standing by a loved one with a bottle of water in our hand. So when we hear this, Joe, we're tired of this. We don't trust y'all. And some of us don't give a damn about y'all. And unless we got personal relationships. And what I'm saying is, this is nice, but we don't want to hear this about, you got pensions, you got families. If you take the oath, you know what you're doing when you take that damn test. This is a career. This is a serious job that you're taking. Don't take it if you can't do the job and realize what's on the line. Stop giving excuses because I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear about good officers and stay silent. They're not good officers if they stay silent.
Okay. So let me say this. First of all, I completely concur with what you just said. So let me say this. I didn't say, and you can rewind the tape, Brother Fatim. So careful here. I didn't say that you're a good officer if you stay silent.
No, you didn't. You said there are good officers out there, and I said,
right.
Prove the good officers that speak out against the police brutality and the corruption that goes on inside the departments and other police around the country.
Okay, so let me say the following. Let me say, because I can only speak for myself. Brother Sammy said, Joe, stay on the issue. We are going to stay on the issue. And the issue is, Brother Sammy, you are absolutely correct. Most interaction, due to A, the propaganda machine, and B, due to most folks not understanding policing, period. And that's why we're trying to do what we're doing right now. Once again, I don't know about other police organizations or other police departments. I can only speak for the one that I work for. And I can say the following. We try to be very proactive into policing and making it fair and balanced, and understand that we have laws that we have to uphold. And we are very understanding that these are human beings. A lot of folks don't do that. And for those who don't do that, I wish they would change their ways. But I have no control, nor do I have any influence on any other police department except the one I work in.
So wait a minute, Joe. So is this a conflict of interest?
Let me finish.
Finish. But it's not about you personally. This is about a conversation on bad policing, not your department. It's about policing.
So here's what I'm trying to say, Brother Fatim. I understand that there are bad policing, and maybe what needs to happen in that diaspora of bad policing, they may need to pay attention because everybody's not getting it wrong. There are departments out there that are getting it right. And maybe somebody, and I think this needs to be a statewide and a national-wide push, that those agencies that are getting it right, that the numbers are correct, everybody's not going through hell and high water with their police department, that they be more models, that they say, look, why can you not model your police department or begin to work with a task force that says, we come in and we say, this is what you're doing wrong, brother. This is what you need to be doing right, and hold them accountable. Unfortunately, there's not that type of thing out there. I'll give you a prime example. I have a problem with this. I'll raise my hand. I'm on my podcast. Not a conflict of interest. I've said this before vocally. Even I've been in a congressional hearing and said this. As a law enforcement officer with the law and the right by law to protect and serve and even take a life, because you have life and death in your hand, with the law backing you, you as a law enforcement officer should be at least twice a year have a mental evaluation. And this should be a nationwide thing. It shouldn't be just a state or a parish or a county. Everybody who has a badge and a gun and certified law enforcement officer should have a twice a year psychological evaluation to say, are you still mentally competent to carry that gun and be out here doing your job? Because some folks aren't. I know this, but unfortunately, it takes hell and high water for folks to even try to push that, try to legislation through, because folks go, what do you mean y'all need to be evaluated twice? Man, if I carry a gun, I feel like the military. I feel like anybody who has the power of life and death in their hand should have a mental evaluation. Are you still mentally stable from the time we qualified you to do this job to continue to do this job? I feel like twice a year, just like we have to go and qualify with our weapon to make sure that we can still hit the target, that my eyesight ain't went crazy, because if I can't hit the target, I don't need to be carrying a gun. We need to be mentally evaluated to make sure that we are mentally competent to wear that badge and to carry that gun and to serve our community as police officers in a fair and unbiased way to uphold the law and keep the citizens safe. Especially listen, because there's too many folks out there that, in my humble opinion, that are good people that are getting bullied by the police. And that ain't right. I said what I said. Now I'm done with that. Go ahead, brother Fatim. Let's keep it flowing and going.
I heard what you said. You stayed on topic there. I agree with that. I agree with that. This is just something that I've seen too many oftentimes. I didn't have to console too many families. So I'm not impressed. I'm just not impressed right now. I'm just not impressed. I'm not, because it continues to happen. It continues to happen over and over and over. You know, Black police officers, white police officers, and until this stops, and it seems like they don't give a damn, the ones that continue to do it. I have a lot of police friends. I brought them on, I bring them on. I don't have a problem with that. And I understand that it's a hard job, because the first thing they say, well, brother, have you walked in our shoes? No, I haven't walked in your shoes, but I understand your job is hard. But that don't mean that you don't stop not speaking up against brutality. You understand what I'm saying? Why does it take me to know certain people to get certain things done versus the other citizen? Didn't I just talk about corporate welfare, about those that are up in high places get certain things, but the people down here don't get that, or don't get the respect? Well, that's what happens with the damn Black community. That's what happened with the Latino community. That's what happened to the Asian community. And when you're not respected by law enforcement and other people, you tend to get stepped on and you get trodden on. And sometimes you lose your life. So I commend it, but my tone ain't changing. I'm not impressed. I done consoled more people and went to more families and more damn funerals because of negligence from damn police officers, bro. Sorry.
I believe that. And listen, I understand that. And guess what? My hearts, my prayers, my condolences go out to all those families. And I will be the first one to say that I believe, and it saddens me. It saddens me that individuals, there's got to be some changes here. And that's why this voting season is so important. It's why we've got to start holding our elected officials accountable. Come on, family. We sit here and talk about this, but we don't really drill down to the real problem. And the real problem is the people we have voted in office that put these laws together, that some give complete immunity to certain individuals. There needs to be some accountability here. And the accountability starts with you and I at the ballot box. Because understand, when you drill down to this, you have to ask who put that law in place that gave that immunity. Who put that law in place that did this or did that? And then you got to say to yourself, did you vote? Did you vote? And better yet, not only did you vote, did you hold the people that you gave your vote to accountable? Many a time in Black and brown communities, sadly, we just give our votes willy-nilly. We don't ask for nothing in return. We don't say, listen, in order for you to earn my vote, can you give me a 3-point plan of what you're going to do to make my community better? My community, where I live at, better. We don't do that. What we do is give us a bottle of water, throw a little fare, give us a couple of chicken plates and a couple of bags of French fries, and everybody's okay. Vote for this person. Come on, family. And that's why we've got to wake up and understand that our vote cannot be given unless our vote given should be a point of us saying we're not giving this unless we're receiving something bad. You really need to look at your vote like sex. Do you just sleep with any and everybody and don't want nothing in return? Come on. Because a lot of you, if we would put it on that level, I guarantee you a lot of you would look at it differently. But that's the problem. We don't. Some of us think that this whole little system is a joke. This system is a system that governs us. And we've got to wake up. We've got to wake up and understand that the only way we're going to be able to beat this system is we're going to have to put people in who will change the system. Because the system, the way it is, will continuously beat us down. Because that's what the system was devised to do. That's all I can say about that. It's 9 minutes to the top of the hour. At the top of the hour, we're going to have the doc coming in. We're going to be talking a little mental health. I think we're going to, and this is a good place to talk about. our mental health is shot because of all the isms and all the stuff we got to deal with. We just talked about a small slither of it with the policing issue. Let's talk about the economic issue. There is.
Let me get in here, Joe, because you just said you said something, and you going somewhere else. Yeah. So you talk about the voting. See, this is why, and you said you're going to invite some people on. And I hate to say, y'all, I may just seem like I got a chip on my shoulder this week. I got a damn chip on my shoulder this week because I'm tired of this surface scraping by us. If you got to understand the system, and you got to realize who manipulates the system and how they get it to work for them. So we keep going out there saying the same shit I can't sugarcoat this no more. We keep saying the same thing, putting people up there, holding people accountable. Don't you know, through gentrification, segregation, voting blocks, lobbyists, that they keep us in silos, that they put us in certain voting blocks, then they change the voting district. Don't you know that every year that they change the voting, and then they have to, sometimes it goes up to the Supreme Court and they have to knock it back down, or go up to the state Supreme Court and they have to knock it back down because it's unconstitutional. Because what they do is they create these voting blocks. So when you're in these black communities and you put these black people in to vote for you, that you vote for, and they do what they say they're going to do for you, the bottom line is you don't win the House, you don't win the Senate. Then when you come into your city government, it's the same thing. Who rules the party? So you got to understand how the system works. But since they got us boxed in, living in certain communities, those communities that, unfortunately, a lot of communities of color don't have that power. They get the person there, but overall, the conservatives tend to run this.
Drill down on that, brother Fatim. They need to understand that. Like, for example, let's say you have a council with 7 people on it. If 2 of them people are your folks, but the other 5 always vote against them, your 2 good people on that council don't do nothing but hold a seat. And then they get to the point that they have to make sure that they do all they can for whoever they can, just where the community won't say, well, man, what are you doing on there?
Always defeat it. And then we come on here and talk the same thing every 4 years, every 2 years, or every year. You got to get out there and vote. You got to hold them accountable. But the ones that you're holding accountable are doing their damn job, but there's 5 other people that's voting against them. That's why I'm saying you got to understand the system. And then with this redlining, and then when they, due to racism, you can't move into certain communities. This is the problem. That's why I keep saying we scraping the surface. That's why I get upset, because we hamsters on that hamster wheel. We got to understand the system, because I'm tired of promoting the same rhetoric. Vote, vote, vote. And we're not getting anything. So something needs to change.
Well, Brother Fatim, first of all, we have to understand, in my humble opinion, and this is just my opinion. Once again, I'm not trying to broad brush. This is my opinion. This is how I see it. First of all, we have to acknowledge that something is broken.
Been broken.
Okay.
Racist system.
Not only do we have to acknowledge something is broken, we have to ask ourselves, are we formulating a strategy to either fix what is broken or to disconnect from what is broken? See, the problem is we do a lot of talking about the problem, but we do not talk enough about the solution. And that's what bothers me the most. And then, because when we do talk the solution, then we start talking about who's going to lead us. We have a big problem in Black and brown communities that if certain folks ain't sitting at the table, we get sabotaged by our own because they didn't get invited to the party or to the table to discuss the issue. Many a times. So let me say this. It's just me talking straight up. Black folks, if certain Black folks can't be at the table or the captain of the ship, they're going to be the first one to sink the ship. They'll go and sabotage the ship because they were not invited to be on the ship. And we got to stop that. Just because you wasn't invited does not mean that you're not valuable and that we could not use you to come on board and begin to continue the work that we start to bring about the greater good of all of us winning. But some folks, if they can't be the captain, if they can't get the pat on the back, if it can't be, oh, I'm the one who did it, they're not going to help. And that's the sad thing. We have people who have the answers, know where the resources are, know how to get to them, but they won't do it because you haven't invited them to be the head person in charge. Too many times we Black folks kamikaze each other. And the reason we can't get out the harbor is because we too busy sinking our own ships, and we can't set sail to the destination we need to get to because some of you are at the point of your lives, and I don't know why you're this way, and this is just my opinion. Some of you are like, if I can't be the head nigga in charge, y'all niggas ain't gonna get no help, no love from me. And that's it. And then here's the thing. When you watch the other side, the Republicans or the conservatives, or watch this. Yesterday, a friend of mine said this, and I'm going to shut up. A friend of mine says, I'm not saying everybody who followed Trump is a racist, but everybody that is a racist is a Trump follower. I'm not saying that everybody is a racist that is a Trump follower, but everybody I know that's a racist is right now backing Trump. So when he said that, it kind of caught me. I said, wait a minute, let me think about that for a minute. I said, oh, he got a good point there. Come on, family. We got to wake up. We self-sabotage ourselves. You know, we can't find no unity in our community. We talk about there, like you said, Brother Fatim, there's silos of us who like yourself, Reverend Sharpton, the brothers you used to work for, that the Bob Slades, the M2 Mays, the Bob Pickett's. There are silos. Even if you go to other communities, I give you a prime example. Right where I'm at, right here in Lafayette, Louisiana, we have a council. On our council, there may be 2 individuals who look like me, who advocate for what's the greater good in my community. And guess what? The greater good in my community for Black and brown folks, most of the time, is the greater good for everybody. See, that's the craziest thing. We don't show how equal rights, civil rights, or us getting our way is really the best for everybody, not just Black and brown folks.
All right, so
wake up.
So the person that said that, I don't agree with it. I don't agree with that statement that all the races are for Trump, because I don't agree with that, because some races try to kill him. So no, because that's what I'm saying. You got to know these Aryan nations, like Brother Aton said. You got to know these people and hear what they say. Some of them don't like him. They feel that he's an idiot, that he don't know what he's doing, and he's placating to the white folks that don't have any understanding of what they're trying to promote at the end of the day. So I know, like, we like to be cliches and kind of sound catchy, but that's not a true statement. But I understand what he's trying to say on that. But you look at the individual that got his head blown off and his manifesto. Racist. He tried to kill Trump. Not for Trump, so it's just a sad state of reality out here. And what happens is, I remember Reverend Sharpton saying a long time ago, when he was running for, I believe president, and he said he's not trying to reinvent the wheel. He was trying to make the change in this society. But if you're from the school of thought, and I understand what Reverend Sharpton's saying, but if you're from the school of thought, this was a question I'll put out there to Reverend Sharpton. What did Dr. King say that this country needs? It needs a radical, revolutionary change of values. Radical. Not we shall overcome. Radical. Revolutionary. Turn this son of a bee upside down. Yeah, reinvent the wheel. Because this system is corrupt. But unfortunately, it's not going to happen. So since it's not going to happen, that's why I said I understand what Reverend Sharpton said there. But if you're talking about following King, and King left a blueprint. He left a blueprint. Go to where do we go from here? Chaos of Community, his last book. Dr. King left a blueprint, and he talked about that. You talk about Malcolm, but listen to what Dr. King said, radical revolutionary change of values in this country. Turn this SOB upside down. That's the only way you're going to get fairness and change in this corrupt system. But since we are not going to do that, unless we do have a revolution here, and you know, and I don't see that, and I'm being realistic here. But reality is, we're trying to change something that has been against us for such a long time, and every time we try to change it, they find another way to step on top of us. That's what they do. We get good lawyers. We put black people in office. You know what? We put black people in office. Some black people do good. Some black people are corrupt. Then you try to change the laws. You just talked about, when we was talking about policing, have a federal mandate. That's what the George Floyd Policing Act was about. You see what they go against? They go against that. Every time you try to do something, they step on it because you learn how to play the system. You got the right to vote. You got the right to do this. You got the chance to run for office, and they find other ways to keep you handcuffed. That's what I'm trying to tell you. This system is against us. And when we say it's systemic racism, some of y'all, because y'all got good jobs and good paying jobs, that you think you made it. Oh, we had a black president, we made it. Hell no, we didn't make it. We didn't make it as a community, as a people in this country. What they have done to this place, I wish I would say Columbus Day yesterday. Damn thieves and liars, what they did to the indigenous people here. And then they want to talk people coming in from the border, they're immigrants. Don't make the money running this country, you damn immigrants. You took this land, you not took it, you stole it. So don't tell me about this damn corrupt system, because we try to play the damn game and they continue to thwart it at our ass. So that's why I don't give no middle of the road bull crap with this. I don't. Do anybody know why the police was created? In this country, they were slave catchers. And that sin mentality is that we got to keep the niggas in check. I'm telling you, man, wake up, man. I ain't got time for the middle of the road, bro. I just ain't got time for that today. I just don't. Because it's 2024, man. We should not be. I saw somebody break out and "We Shall Overcome" the other day. I was like, oh my God. Are y'all really serious? Are y'all serious? And then you want to go at Colin Kaepernick? Oh, it's just about football? It's just about football. Oh, I just don't want to get into politics. I don't want to get into that stuff. I just want to watch me a game. But your brother's catching hell out there, getting their heads beat up. Sisters getting shot down. Shot down. Sonia Massey, don't forget. John Bell in New York City on his right before his wedding day. I don't forget these things.
Sarah Bland.
Don't give me that. I ain't skinning and grinning.
I just left Prairie View.
I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. When I say I'm sorry, I'm not sorry apologizing for nothing. Because I'm not dealing the middle of the road, because they've been killing us and maiming us for the longest. And do they apologize? Do they apologize for slavery? They fight us on reparations. They can give everybody reparations. Oh, the Holocaust. Yeah, the Holocaust was bad, but the Black Holocaust was bad too.
Hold on and watch this. How much was given? And that's something that really, last time I checked, there wasn't a Jewish individual who was gassed in a gas chamber in the United States of America. But we paid the Jewish people reparations. Not the Germans. Not the Germans paid the Jewish people reparations. We paid the Jewish people reparations. Okay, make it make sense. And then it
doesn't make sense because you don't want to deal with this, because then it compromised a lot of you religious people that you got a handshake with America and Israel, and you got a handshake with the synagogue of devils. That's what you got. You got a synagogue of devils, and that's what you're doing, but you don't want to deal with this. And that's the reality. I call it, Fatin said it.
Phone lines are open. 225-250-8770.
I need to cool off today, man.
We're broadcasting live on Facebook Live, on Instagram Live, on YouTube. You can catch us at the JDMS on Instagram and at 100 BLK Media on YouTube. Definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like I said, it is homecoming weekend on the Bluff. Listen, how many of y'all out there in my area may want to go to Southern University's homecoming? And you're saying, man, I ain't got no tickets. How do I get there? Do me this. I'm going to have a little contest. I'm going to give away a pair of tickets to, here's how you get the pair of tickets. You got to go to our YouTube channel, and I know exactly how many and when if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you will put yourself in the drawing to receive a pair of tickets to Southern University's homecoming. Compliments of hashtag Truth Be Told. Compliments of hashtag Truth Be Told. You have to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I will be letting folks know Friday who the winner is, and they can give me their information then, and I will get them their tickets. Pair of tickets, Southern University homecoming this Saturday on the Bluff as they take on the Braves of Alcorn. It's going to be actually a battle to see who's number one in the West, because the Alcorn Braves are undefeated in Western SWAC conference play, and so is the Southern University Jaguars. So it's going to be a big game, and it's going to be homecoming. It's going to be epic. Yeah, it is 9 minutes past the hour. Doc's going to be coming on. We're going to have some talk about your mental health, because family and we're going to talk about, watch this, the mental health of the care provider. Many a times we talk about individuals' mental health, but we need to talk about the mental health of individuals who are caregivers to folks who are going through the issues of life. Because many a times, a lot of folks, we look at the person who is sick, but we don't look at the person who is giving care to that person who is going through their illness at the time. So Doc is going to be on soon.
And I don't want to forget what we talked about last week, because we had topics for the Doc. And one of the topics was dealing with pain medication and the under medicating, especially of people of color, Black folks, Latino folks in this country when it comes down to pain. And I really want to get into that, because that not only affects you physically, it affects you mentally. But I really want to drill down, because that was a topic that we had planned, one of the topics last week. I don't want to forget that. So yeah,
so family, and let me go ahead. I didn't do that this time. And speaking of right on cue as I'm speaking, let me put this out here in case, I always do. And I do it first on our YouTube channel. He'll be on, like I said, Doc is jumping into the green room. I don't have a picture yet, but he just jumped into the green room. We're going to get into some good conversation. It is Tuesday, Tell the Truth Tuesday, and we've been telling a lot of truth. And we're going to continue to give you hashtag Truth Be Told.
Well, like I said, again, how can I say this? Sometimes I just shake my head. That's why a lot of us become frustrated and we don't speak no more. There's a lot of people that just don't speak no more, and they just let the chips fall where they are. Because when we start speaking out, when people start hearing the truth and it starts rocking their world, they get quiet, they get silent. And, and people just are tired, man. People are tired. And that's why a lot of young people don't follow the traditions that some of our elders have done, because they look like, at the end of the day, that was then, this is now. And if we are going to continue to be in this loop and continue to ask the same questions that we asked in the 40s, the 50s, and the 1800s, then where are we growing? Are we growing as a people? Are we scared to call out people? Are we scared to call out what they are? Are we scared to call out some of the institutions that are in our community that are not helpful no more? And a part of the part of the downfall of us. You got to realize we got people in our communities and institutions in our communities that look like us, that keep us down, that keep us in check. Because when they go back and check in with Mr. Charlie, I got them under control. You get money.
Say that again slowly, because some folks did not hear that.
Just saying, a lot of people in our community that look like us and institutions that say they're for us, they're not for us. A lot of these institutions are just by name only. They're just by name. I challenge the NAACP. I'm glad that they brought the brother in Derek, because like I said, I challenged the NAACP. The brother you brought on, I like that brother because he's doing something. But don't come on here and just throw the NAACP and talk what you did and what you ain't doing, because I'll call your ass out right on the damn spot. So that's what I'm saying. We got to stop this same old rhetoric and same old tune and start becoming more creative. But a lot of us are not developing our minds, or a lot of us are just caught up in the cycle of life just trying to survive. And I keep saying what Sister Shahrazad Ali said, a lot of Black folks are like roaches. We're surviving. We're not living. And it's unfortunate because of the conditions we're in. That's why when we talk about the PTA, when there's single parents leading our community and the mother's going to work and sometimes working 2 jobs and got to come home and cook and do homework, she can't make that PTA meeting. You understand what I'm saying? Because she's caught up. She's caught up. Imagine my wife dealing with a sickle cell crisis, have to deal with PTA, deal with the kids. No, but we did it as a unit. We did it as a unit. And not only did we do it as a unit for my family, we did it in the community. I lived on a dead-end block. We looked out for one another. If another parent couldn't make it, we would talk to that parent and tell them what was said. That's what we did. It was about coalition and community building. We got to do better. I'm not being cliche-ish, man. I'm sorry, y'all. Sorry. My blood pressure was good today when I took it, and my blood sugar. My blood pressure and blood sugar. I'm just upset that we continue to do the same thing over and over and over. The doc gonna have to have me do some yoga and some meditation, because right now I'm on the warpath.
Doc?
What's happening? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Man, please help your brother over here that's in New York City. He need help, man. You need to prescribe him some
you ain't gotta prescribe me anything, Doc. I just
blood pressure medicine.
Doc, and Doc talks about this when we, I'm not talking about sickle cell today, real quick. And how you doing, Doc?
Good morning.
Good morning, my brother. I was just talking to a young lady around the corner who has sickle cell, and she don't really take pain meds. She tries to stay away from them for her reason. But some of the things that she goes through and we have to advocate for, that I advocated before, I feel like I would be running into a brick wall. Before, it seems like I have more allies, but it seems like the system, like I said, have gotten more sophisticated and don't like to deal with the criticism, and they tend to work against you. For instance, one of the things we were going to bring up with you last week, and it was brought, I knew about this for a long time, is, and I saw it in the sickle cell world, but talking about pain meds, about pain medication, and how a lot of Black people tend to suffer more because doctors tend to under-medicate them when it comes to pain meds. And I wanted to bring that up to you. Me and you have never discussed this from the perspective of pain management, overall, not sickle cell, but all those that suffer in chronic pain. For instance, there's a young lady that's in the chat that was treated with certain pain meds in North Carolina. Now moving to New Jersey, still have the same diagnosis, But the doctors now in New Jersey don't want to prescribe her the pain meds that North Carolina had prescribed her. And one of the things I said, that anytime you move, you got to make sure that your old doctors talk with your new doctors so that there's some kind of communications, because doc, sometimes doctors tend to respect other doctors. Sometimes they don't, but they tend to respect other doctors in their regimen. So I want to hear what you have to say, especially when it comes down to pain medication and of course with the opioid crisis out here, and how a lot of doctors now have been brought up on charges and lost their license because of administering pain medication.
So that's an excellent point, and unfortunately, it's not new. It all goes back to a perpetuated myth, again, sadly, in the medical community over the years, that African Americans have higher pain thresholds than their white counterparts or any other counterpart. It was started back during slavery in a way as a way to justify some of the horrific experiments and things that took place during that time, and has perpetuated over the years. It's only been within the last century, not the new century, but the latter part of the last century, that it's been acknowledged. The last quarter of the last century, that's truly been acknowledged. A lot of it started in the Deep South, and in med schools, they were actually teaching people that the myths. And I haven't talked to the latest batch, but for a long time it was perpetuated that black people don't feel pain the same. So I know you said you didn't want to talk about sickle cell crisis or sickle cell, but it's most evident when it comes to sickle cell crisis. Patients that are truly in pain and need things. And what people don't understand, pain is a symptom. It's a symptom. It's not only the check engine light in your car. It's that funny noise, that noise getting louder and louder and louder, that makes the car start running poorly if you don't address it until the car just stops. And it's no longer there. Pain, something is wrong. Pain signals inflammation. If things are inflamed, we don't walk around in a constant state of pain in a natural state unless there's been some type of injury or pre-existing condition that we have. So if you don't address it, it can only get worse. It leads to other things, not the least of these, mentally and physiologically, is the stress response. Cortisol and epinephrine, raising your blood pressure, raising your blood sugar, that can lead to cycles of anxiety and depression. And even further, as we see in the Black community, for centuries and generations, distrust of the medical institution. So we won't go to the doctor, and I'm about to connect all this. As such, because you wouldn't treat my cousin, my wife, with proper pain medication, I don't feel comfortable going to the doctor. You won't give, you're not going to treat me, you're not hearing me, you don't respect me. I'm going to suffer in silence. I'm going to be depressed, and unfortunately, a lot of times we can die. The same thing happens. The same thing is applicable in the terms of maternal and fetal health. African American women, particularly educated African American women, are the #1 demographic that could potentially die during childbirth. Lots of things aren't considered. Lots of things are ignored until sometimes it's too late for this reason, especially when it comes to the scheduled narcotics like opioids. So it's a very, very real thing. It's a very, very real thing that we need to keep talking about and making topics of conversation. And it also leads, as you can see, everything leads back to, you have to have an advocate, do your homework and have an advocate for you when you go to the doctor, when you go to the emergency room, when you go to urgent care. You have to have constant dialogue. If you can't don't have someone to go with you, find someone that you can sympathize with, that you can identify with, that can possibly empathize with your situation, that might be on the medical side, that can speak for you when you can't speak for yourself.
So Dr. Griggs, how do you handle where I've had on my open line, my other show, where I brought on a couple of doctors that were brought up on charges. One had lost his medical license of dealing with prescribing opioids. What do you say to, because a lot of doctors, and I'm not talking about the doctors that abused their privilege or did things under the table. I'm not talking about them. Those should lose their license. But I'm talking about to the point where, like I said, my wife was prescribed, you know, and some doctors looked at it like it was crazy, but like I said, my wife caught hospital staff. So her doctor was able to write for a certain amount of Percocet, and that was for your day-to-day pain. And then wrote for OxyContin, 40, I think it was 30 or 40 milligrams. If that's some more severe pain, and of course, if that didn't work, of course, head to the emergency room, just like you said. It's a warning of something. Sometimes you could be dehydrated, it's not an infection, and that you got a little bit of the cells clumping up, you get some fluid and get rest and the pain meds, and sometimes you can beat that little daily type of crisis there. But what do you say to those folks that go to the doctors and it seems like they're begging for medicine, but the doctors won't prescribe them the proper narcotic, or take something over the counter, or they'll give you something like naproxen, which deals with inflammation, but they don't prescribe you the necessary narcotic to deal with that pain while they're treating the issue. And sometimes the issue may be an issue that you're going to have to live with. Some people have cancer. Some people have sickle cell. There's other issues. Some people have broken bones, pinched nerves, sciatica. There's a lot of things that people have to deal with.
Yeah, so the thing is, you have to be able to advocate for yourself or have an advocate with you. You need to talk. If you've been prescribed those medications, let them understand that you understand the cycle and the progression and nature of your illness and of pain. I don't necessarily want, so let me back up. Opioids and narcotics exist for a reason. They work, a lot of the opioids work on the mu receptor to attack the actual pain sensation for those pains that you have to live with while you go through other things. Let them know that, listen, you can call, here's my records, have a copy of your records if you can. Always get a copy of your own records. You have every right to that. Show them, this is my medical history. This is the progression of things that I've gone through. I don't want to be on this medication, but this is the only thing that works until I get through this crisis, this decision, this disease. Schedule me with alternative treatments for pain. I'm open to it. I've gone to it. I've tried all of this. I'm coming to you with a referral. And most importantly, if you're going to an emergency room, call your doctor first or call your nurse first and let them call ahead of you before you go to pave the way to eliminate some of the, because time is precious. For every second that you're in pain, it could potentially get worse. It could be signaling something that's wrong. Again, you need to have an advocate. Either you can advocate for yourself by having your records and let that be your advocate. You can, most importantly, talk to your treating physician or treating healthcare team. Have them advocate for you and let them say, okay, this is what I need to do. Will you? Because this is what happened. If you see something, if you feel something, if something happens, say something so you can get your team in. You know, everybody acts different. When you're walking around as a little kid, you're walking around a block and they act like they want to jump you. They act real strange until you go get your cousins and your brothers and sisters. They see that you have an army and that you will be respected.
Right. Now, you said something earlier, and I'm going to kind of change gears a little bit. You mentioned about Black women, and Black women, you have a higher percentage of Black women dying doing childbirth. And let's take a look at this, because I've done some shows on this, and let's talk about some of the reasons why Black women tend to die in childbirth higher than other nationalities or ethnic groups out here. I've seen how there's been more information that has been put out in especially in Black communities, especially to women of color, when it comes down to pregnancy, where they have better care. I'm seeing more midwives being introduced, and doulas as well now being introduced to help Black women. But you as a doctor, and since you brought it up, I'll let you break that down to our folks. Why do we see this? And let's talk about some of the solutions to this, because a lot of, our women that go through pregnancy, they need to know these things.
So I'm going to start with some stats and just bear with me. Black women in the United States have a higher rate of mortality than white women, and especially in the postpartum period. In 2021, the mortality rate for Black women was 69.9 deaths per 100,000 live births, which was 2.6 times that for white women. Postpartum, 2 out of 3 maternal deaths occur within the first 42 days after birth. Black women are also less likely to follow up with their care provider after giving birth. Some contributing factors, some reasons are systemic racism, lack of access to mental health support, especially for postpartum depression, and low-risk care from high-risk doctors. The cumulative effects, it's called allostatic load. The cumulative effects of chronic stress can cause a woman's biological age to be 10 years older in Black women than in white. The stress of inequity, and particularly health inequity, can cause a woman's biological age. That means your actual age of your body versus your chronological age to be 10 years that of white women. In 2022, well, with that said, with the allosteric load, we know that that load is exacerbated by exacerbated by things like socioeconomic status, race, age, and other factors. In 2022, the maternal mortality rate for Black women decreased to 22 per 100,000. However, the mortality rate is still higher than in other countries. Again, let's take it first. Let's tackle the first part of what you're asking. A lot of it has to do with the first part of what we talked about, the fact that we're not heard. That we're not in pain. We're ignored because it's mistakenly thought that Black women have a higher pain tolerance than any other of the counterparts. We talked about the allosteric load, the stresses of living, the follow-up, the access to quality care. I've recently gone through this process with my daughter, and she's had excellent care. She's having excellent postpartum care. My twin grandbabies are getting excellent care only because our family, my wife is a nurse, I'm a doctor, we went to every visit. Our family is around showing our face. We're advocating. I'm spending every night in the hospital with my grandson to see, pulling up Brother Fatim, asking questions, advocating, asking questions, things that I don't know, and getting those questions answered. It's that type of village that we need to wrap around our Black women when it's time to give birth to our babies. And it starts with having frank conversations. It starts with talking to our moms, to letting them know they're not alone. Again, you're not walking the block alone. You have an army with you, and they need to know that. You have every right to fire your doctor, regardless of your socioeconomic status. You can fire your doctor if it does not work, because there are implicit biases that a lot of healthcare professionals might not be aware of, or they might, but you don't have to subject yourself to it to take care of you and your children and your families. So there's a lot to it. It's been going on for a while. We've seen it, unfortunately. Serena Williams, we've seen it and incidentally, the stats show that the higher the level of education, the more dangerous it is for the mom. We've had doctors, unfortunately. If you remember the national case, it was an OBGYN who unfortunately passed away during childbirth because she was not heard. It's all about advocacy. It's all about knowing who we are, what we are, and what we're entitled to, and understanding you are the MVP of the team and you can fire. We fired a doctor at the very beginning, and I'm glad I wasn't at the visit because I might not have been able to maintain my professionalism because of some of the comments that were passed. So there's a lot of things involved, but it all goes back to advocacy, education. Never send anybody to the doctor alone, and never be afraid to ask those hard questions.
And I see Marcus Allen, I saw your comment. Joe put it up there. I'm going to get to that in a minute. But we don't mention you. We hear this statement, but we don't talk about this. And you talked about postpartum depression. Let's talk about that. What is it? I mean, I know what it is, but we're talking to our audience. What is it? Basically, after the woman has given childbirth, why do they say that this happens, and how can a woman be treated as she's trying to nurse or take care of her child, especially if she doesn't have a strong support mechanism there? Let's talk a little bit about this postpartum depression.
So before we get to postpartum depression, let's get to the whole process of becoming a mom. Your body is changing. You're growing 2 new humans in your body. Instead of eating for one, you have Sometimes no, you have to eat for at least one. Sometimes it's more than one. Sometimes it's 2, 3, 4. Your body is changing, and as your body changes, your hormones change. There's a hormone called oxytocin that makes you more loving and caring. Along with that comes mood swings. We've had, it's only been in the it's 1960, 40, 70, 80 years that women have had equal rights. There's a thing called hysteria. That word hysteria is related to the uterus, of madness, because she has a uterus. Women were not respected. And childbirth is one of the most dangerous events that can happen in a human being's life. Prior to the invention of the hospital, the new technologies, the acknowledgement, especially as we acknowledge things like doulas and more support systems prior to going to the hospital, prior to going to the doctor, the survival rate of moms and child is going up. What happens is, as you get all those hormonal changes to the body, you become more loving and caring. The body adapts to be loving and caring for the human being or human beings that you might be growing. And once that's done, there's a feeling of anxiety. There's a change in your hormones. There's a separation because you've had your baby safe with you for 9 months, and every mom knows all you want is for your babies to be okay. That as long as they're with you, there's that bond. They are you. They eat as you eat. They live as you live. And then there's the separation. So there's a natural depression because you miss your children, you miss your babies, and it's very, 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 very real. As your body attempts to adjust to the possibility that the world will never love you like I will, as moms say, there's fear for your baby. There's fear for the baby's future. A lot of times to the point that you neglect your own health. There's an associated depression that happens afterwards that can last for days to weeks to months, if not treated, even years. Now, that's my explanation of postpartum depression. Now, what can we do? One of the things you can do now, especially in this day and age, it's amazing that we're able to talk about mental health so freely, or we're beginning to even open up the door so we can do it more, is get a therapist. The moment that you find out that you're going to conceive, and talk to your therapist regularly so you can have at least one person, whether it's your family or not, because a lot of times it might not be. It might not be your significant other, but you need to have someone to express your feelings and help talk you through things and give you tools to cope as you go through the different phases of pregnancy. As the baby grows, different things are going to happen to your body. You're going to have different worries. You're going to have different fears. You're going to have different appetites. You're going to have a lot of different things. Matter of fact, you might have different social groups as you move along. And that's the other thing. A lot of moms have to mourn the fact, at least temporarily, mourn the fact that the life that they knew and loved prior to becoming pregnant no longer will exist, that your life will never be the same. So there's a lot of things that need to happen during that process, and it's great if you have someone to professionally walk with you through the journey and those things. You have doulas, you have mental health therapists, you have psychologists, you have psychotherapists, you have psychiatrists. You have a lot of support that's available that we need to have the conversation to know about. There's support groups. If you don't have a support from your family, there's other mommies out there that you can reach out to. I have a friend who's a mommy and she's a doctor. So there's a doctor mommy group that she's a part of that she leans on for advice and to support her, not only through childbirth, pregnancy, childbirth, and immediately postpartum, but through the stages of having children. And again, it makes you feel really good and very supported to know that you have an army with you when you walk into any room.
Right. Thank you for that. That was excellent. And you heard us, folks, and I'm coming to you, Marcus Allen, on your question. But I just want to say we mentioned doula and midwife, and I don't want to escape because a lot of people hear this doula now and not familiar with that. So let's just go over that. So a doula is a trained professional who provides physical, emotional, and informational support to a woman before, during, and after childbirth. The doula's role is to help the mother have a positive birthing experience, offering comfort techniques, encouragement, and advocacy. Doulas do not perform medical tasks. Instead, they focus on providing non-medical support to mothers and families, offering guidance and reassurance throughout the birthing process. A midwife, on the other hand, is a healthcare professional trained to provide medical care during pregnancy, labor, and postpartum. Midwives are involved in prenatal care, assisting with the actual delivery of the baby and managing any medical issues that may arise during childbirth. They are qualified to conduct clinical tasks such as monitoring the baby's health, performing exams, and delivering the baby. Did I cover that correctly, Doc?
Absolutely, absolutely. And the more we talk about these terms, the more people, you know how when you buy a bike or a car, a red bike or red car, you see every red bike or red car ever made on the planet, and your eyes are drawn to it. It's the same thing. The more we talk about things like doulas, midwives, midwifery, support groups, the more we talk about them, the more people will be aware that those things actually apply to them. And it's funny how just like your body tends to draw you to your eyes and your taste buds, to those things, that your nutrients that you need, it's the same thing for your support and mental health. As you know, resources are available and they're for you. You can feel more comfortable going to them and utilizing them. You'll find out a lot of the things that we discuss are covered by your insurance or might be free.
There you go. So now, Brother Marcus Allen, I wasn't ignoring you, but I don't like to jump in and out of the topic. I want to make sure that since this wasn't a planned conversation, I want to make sure. So Marcus Allen, question for you, Dr. Griggs, is can the doctor discuss the relationship between pharmaceutical companies and their medications and doctors, and how many doctors are incentives through various gifts, trips, and other things in order to push certain medications?
So let me just say, let me start with the second part and nip it in the bud. That's illegal. Doctors you cannot prescribe a medication just because someone is giving you a trip. Now, what they do is you'll get invited to dinners, and they have scientific presentations telling you the science of that drug that's been approved by the FDA and letting you know that you can't use it, you're not supposed to use it off label. The role of doctors, PhDs, and MDs in the clinical research world, of which I am very well versed, have over decades of experience, is to help with the development of those drugs. They have doctors that go out and educate doctors on the new science, because most of the time doctors, like my colleagues, are busy seeing patients, and they might not read and know the latest and greatest, or be exhausted when they get home to do so. So the dinners and the things that you hear about, the days of old where you would hear of the trips and the incentives, that's gone. It's called a Stark law. You can't. It's 1,000% illegal. I had to deal with this, and it's a hot button, and I'm tired. So I want to make sure I don't go hot on it during COVID, because I got accused of a lot of things and I had nothing to gain from it. Our job as a doctor is to be as objective as possible as scientists. Scientists that practice the art of medicine that's not perfect, with a bigger entity that controls more than we do. But we have to ethically, in order to ethically conduct the science, you cannot accept anything to coerce you to prescribe any medication. If you think that's happening, you need to report them.
Got it. Now, this here can be, how can I say, a touchy subject, but I have to start here, Doc. And when I say this, folks, follow me, because I don't want to be accused of anything. Back in the day, we used to say certain words that now they say are trigger words, and it's not for us to utilize because they're not responsible words. Okay, so I'll put out a couple of those words real quick. Retarded, crazy. These are words that we are taught today that we should not use, and that we should talk about from the umbrella of mental health challenges or mental health issues. The reason why I bring it up like that, Doc, because a lot of people think that the word mental health has replaced those words, meaning that it's a softer approach to deal with those kind of issues. But then I was wondering, mental health issues or mental health challenges is not where somebody may just be dealing with anxiety. Mental health challenges could be day to day, to the point of, to eat more healthy, but you don't do it. So I want you to talk a little bit, because I know this is a big umbrella, but let's talk about what mental health is, mental health challenges, so we can start to really have a productive conversation on dealing with day-to-day challenges where people are getting up, going to work, but they feel the stresses of life, or they just haven't been taught how to deal with certain challenges in life that brings more pressure and anxiety on them.
Okay, so first, I'll start with the fact that as time evolves, terminology evolves. There are words that are commonly accepted in our society, were commonly accepted in our society, that we finally gotten voice enough to say that that's not okay. It wasn't okay then. The reason there's a stigma is because it made people feel bad. It made people withdraw. If you had someone that had a mental issue, we put them in the back room. Now, in the Black community, it goes back to a little history, because we had to do whatever we could to protect our family members and ourselves. If they said that one of us, Brother Patino, if you said Dr. Griggs is he has a mental illness, and I started having I had a rough day, or I had a non-therapeutic day, it could cost my life and the life of my family. So how y'all doing? We're fine. How is everything? Fine. At Thanksgiving, put Dr. Eric in the back room and make sure he has his plate, but don't make sure he doesn't come out. It's the same thing that used to happen with children, right? But we would never talk about it in our community. When words like retarded, crazy, off his rocker, making fun of folks, oh, he wear a special bus, he on a helmet, it hurt then. So it should never have been okay in our society. And as we evolve, there are going to be word changes. There are going to be, as resources, as people speak up. I don't know if you've ever been in a room where you used to be offended by something and you finally got the nerve to speak up, and then everyone jumped on the train like, yeah, I didn't like it when you said it either. Next thing you know, the people in the majority that consider themselves the cool kids defining the culture are the ones that are in the minority. And a lot of times they change their mind, and they want, if they want to grow and learn, and that's part of the divisiveness, and that's where it starts in our society. Now, when it comes to actual mental health, it's funny that all of these are hot buttons for me, because I've been doing this for so long. I try to stand up for everyone in the community. Everyone has a bad day. It's normal to feel anxious. It's normal to have high blood pressure. If someone steps on your foot, your blood pressure goes up. They do it intentionally. You're steaming mad, and you might not be able to forget about it for the next day or two, because you want to get back at them. Is it a mental illness? No, it's a natural body reaction. If something sad happens, if you lose a loved one, if you lose a paper, something traumatic happens at work or in school, it's natural to feel sad. If someone should pass away clinically for the next 6 months, it's not depression, you're sad. It's called grieving. So don't be afraid. We can't be afraid to feel, and we can't be afraid to talk about it, and we can't be afraid to learn. Hey, it's okay to be like, hey, doc, pull me to the doc. When you say that one hurt my feelings, man. It's not soft. I'm not weak because I'm not, if something sad happens and I want to cry, real men cry. Cry and move on. It's okay to do that. The more we hold it bottled up, the more that we are neglecting our mental health and taking a walk towards mental illness by not addressing the mental challenges that we go through in everyday life. Just like your body goes through physical health, and we focus on our health, and then there are times where we get ill. There's short-term illnesses, like a common cold, and then there's long-term illnesses, like you said, like sickle cell, like cancer, like diabetes. There's long-term illnesses. Is it okay to judge you because you're diabetic? First of all, is it anybody's business? If you have a mental illness or a mental challenge that you're going through, you don't have to tell anyone. And no one in healthcare should be mentioning if you're on a medication or a pill to get through a process. Just because you're on a pill to get through, let's say a mom that's suffering from postpartum depression needs a little help, therapy, maybe some medication to get her through the short term to deal with her anxiety and depression. Is that anyone's business? Will she necessarily be on it the rest of her life? No. But again, it's none of their business. And that's by us addressing it and talking about it and standing up for ourselves, our loved ones, or potentially our future selves, we can make it more accepting and easier for people to acknowledge that, hey, that's one thing I'll tell you this, acknowledge that I need a mental health thing. I need a break. I'm stressed. It's a generational thing. If you can remember, our parents, the baby boomers, and us being Gen X, I learned to suck it up, deal with it. The millennials, deal with it. These Gen Zs, hey man, I need a mental health day. What do you mean? I can't cope. I don't want to push through this. I can't get this out of my mind, and I need to talk to somebody. That's how we save lives. That's how we stop suicides. That's how we stop people from getting caught in the cycles of depression that lead to chronic depression, which is a real thing. These are physiologic, medical conditions, pathologies that people have that are part of their health, that is part of your health and my health, that we should feel comfortable talking to our family and friends about and learning about resources to help us cope and get through.
Got it. Rodney Jones says drug interactions is a serious issue. I took 2 meds and I had an allergic reaction. I had to go to the emergency room and receive IV and an injection of Benadryl. And, you know, from my experience, doc, you know, most doctors, when my wife or my daughter's been to the emergency room or even to their doctors, when they go to their doctors tend to know their regimen. When you go to the emergency room, I've seen, and even myself, doctors come, what's your history? What is the drugs that you take? And for my wife, one day, you know, I was able to quote off bang, 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 bang. And the doctor looked and was like, how does he? And she just said, he's my advocate. And he said, do you know it? She said, yeah, I know him as well as he does. But it's times when I can't say it. So I shut up and let her say it. And he was like, that's very good. But what the point is, I'm not really zeroing on that, but it is important that you know the medications you take, because if you go to the emergency room and you never know when something may happen, it's easy with social media. If you're looking at TikTok, you're looking at Facebook, you're looking at Instagram, you can put a list of your medicines in your phone. You understand? You could put a list of medicine in your phone, and if you don't trust your phone, the battery goes dead, then put it in your pocket, put it in your wallet, put it in your purse. Because that's way when the doctors or nurse practitioners that can prescribe medicine know the history, then they should know that there can be a reaction. Now, Doc, could you talk a little bit more about that interaction? Because sometimes, like you said, you guys are scientists, but like you said, it's not always perfect. And sometimes a doctor may not know that this drug interacting with this drug will cause, you know, a reaction at the end of the day. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I'm going to simplify that and make it very, very easy. Part of your healthcare team that people don't acknowledge is their pharmacist. If you pick up your medications from your pharmacist, they have a window called the pharmacy consultation window. If you're on a new medication, hey, can y'all pull up my meds? Am I going to have any type of reaction? And should I do that? What should I do? And when you leave the pharmacy, I want everyone that's watching this and might listen to this, if you get a chance, especially the next time you pick up your meds, ask your pharmacist to print out a list of all the medications that you're taking currently. Print it out, take a picture of it, and then email it to yourself. Email it to yourself and email it to your family member or advocate. And when you go to the doctor, if you have to go to the emergency room, I want you to take your phone. I want you to call your brother, friend, cousin, whoever it is that you emailed it to. And I want you to take that piece of paper from the pharmacist with you when they ask, what medications are you on? It's this. And if you don't have your phone, it won't come up, have the piece of paper. You don't have the piece of paper, I got Joe. I got Brother Fatigue. Can you call this number and tell him what my medications are and what's your email address? And boom, 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 boom. You can ask the pharmacist to track your medications back as long as you like and say it changed from this to this to this. Use the pharmacy consultation window so they can explain it in terms you can understand, and make sure that you record what they said. Don't worry about the pronunciation of the names. Record what they said, go home and type it and put it in the email that you send to your family and friends. And to be quite honest, print out the email if you need to. But if no one can advocate for you, that piece of paper can. And if now this is old school. This is being raised I was raised by my grandmother and my parents. Get the name of the pharmacist that you talk to and get their number. And say, if they have any problems, can I call you? Just in case. Because the last time I couldn't reach anybody. And 9 times out of 10, they'll say, sure. If you don't reach me, text me. Or tell them to email me. I'll let them know. It's all about advocacy, and I don't mean to beat. It's not a dead horse. I'm not even beating. I'm rubbing and brushing so we can walk together. I'm not even riding. very alive Clydesdale in the room called advocacy and empowering ourselves through our family, friends, and mostly ourselves.
Doc Griggs is in the building. 9 minutes to the top of the hour. And Doc Griggs always says this: your health is your wealth. A healthy you is a better you. And we thank him for coming on here. And look, Doc, you and I are both going down this journey together, new grandfathers, man. So congratulations on that, man. And to everybody who's in the chat, every Tuesday, Doc is on here, and we try to get into the conversations because many a times, especially in Black and brown communities, we do not know what to say to our physicians, or we don't have advocates, and we don't know how to talk to our doctors. And that's why diabetes, high blood pressure, and heart disease is running rampant in our community because many of us do not know how to get engaged in the conversation to get ourselves into a better place, healthy, wealthy, and wise, where we can be living the best life we can live as long as we can live. Doc, with it being 8 minutes to the top of the hour, you got some closing words for us, man? Because we can get ready to get up out of here. Talk to me.
Yeah, closing words.
Go ahead. I want to say something. Go ahead. I'll say it after. I didn't know we were closing out. I want to go in about that medical list. I wanted to go into, but go ahead, Joe. I didn't think we were finishing this quick. I wanted to kind of talk about that medicine list, just to list a couple of things. But go ahead, Dr. Griggs. Go ahead.
No, just tell me what you got.
Well, I was looking at this list of, because I was looking up, because this has been, a while since I dealt with my wife's medicine, but I'm looking at it right now, and I can't see everything on it, but from prednisone to and I pronounce it wrong, this is the water pill. This is the for how do you say that? FUROSEMID
furosemide
/ Lasix, folic acid she took, Colace, which is a stool sulfate, albuterol, erythromycin, and then from the narcotics, from the Percocet to the OxyContin, because she got, the way she got it is oxycodone / acetaminophen, which is basically Percocet, and Benadryl, and the amount, and that's so important. What you're talking about, that list, because you can, like, I used to pick up her medicine, they give a form of all the medicine and also the allergic reactions as well. So that's what you gave out is a great example of emailing that list. But you can also make a chart of everything, which is really laid out to yourself and to your advocate, as you said, and to your loved one. But I just was trying to find a list because I knew I had it on my phone as well. So even if I wasn't there, if something happened, because remember, we had that medical alert in the house. So if something happened, she could hit the button around her neck, or she could hit it near her end table, and the ambulance can come, and I get a call, and they'll ask me if there's do I need to speak with anyone, and then I can also give out that list. So I just wanted to reiterate.
Yeah, and the thing is, once you make your list, the biggest thing is you need to go, before you leave the pharmacist, take notes and write it down. When you print it out, go back to the pharmacy and say, can you put this at a 3rd to 6th grade level for me? So before I write this email to folks, don't leave until you can fully understand it to like a 9-year-old. The one thing that I'm trying to advocate against, one of my favorite movies was The Godfather, right? And if you can remember at the end, when he was back in the back, he was playing with his son in the garden, his little grandson, he had a heart attack. He clutched his chest and had a heart attack and fell out. And the little boy didn't know what to do. He actually started playing with him, right? We need to be able to explain it to kids. And here's the thing. The best way to educate adults is to teach kids, because we can hide behind the fact that our health literacy might not be that high, by the fact that you heard what Brother Petit said. Yeah, that's the water pill, right? Yeah, that's the water pill, even though we're learning with them. So always focus, say I want to teach this to a child, like an 8-9-year-old. And that way, no one's insulted, but they fully understand the terms, because medical jargon is not the easiest in the world. So with that, I know we have a short period of time. Brother Joe, my name is, my closing words are advocacy. As always, get checked, get fit, get moving. We advocate for community medicine everywhere. We are one community, but advocacy. Find your advocates. Know you can create healthcare advocates and be your own advocates by using the tools that God gave you, which is your phone, your hands, and your brain. But share it, so just in case you can't speak for yourself, you'll have your village educated and to speak for you.
That's what I'm talking about, Brother Fatim.
Thank you, Dr.
Great
Griggs.
show. Thanks, Doc.
Thanks, Doc, and thanks for calming me down just by having a conversation, brother, because, boy, I tell you, I just don't like going on that hamster wheel. My closing words, I want to remind everyone of the importance of being educated about medications you take and the power of advocating for yourself when it comes to your health. Knowledge is key. Don't be afraid to ask questions, understand the risks and benefits, and make sure you know how each medication is affecting your body. And if you ever feel overwhelmed, having a trusted advocate by your side can make all the difference. Your health is your responsibility, and it's your right to be informed and empowered. Take control and always prioritize your well-being. Until next time, stay healthy and stay informed. Brother Fatim.
Well, family, real simple. 2 minutes to the top of the hour. Be better today than you were yesterday. Do something today to be a blessing to someone, somewhere, somehow, that there's no earthly way they could ever pay you back for the gift of whatever it is that you give them on this day. On the behalf of myself and 100 BLK, Brother Fatim, 1075 WBLS, the Open Lines Online, and Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. Dr. Griggs, it's time to get moving, get fit, get it going. And our other co-host, who is still recovering, Sister Jax. We send nothing but love to her out there in Brick City. We are hashtag Truth Be Told. This was Tell the Truth Tuesday. Tomorrow we will have a dynamic show on this Work It Out Wednesday. And we're going to continue the conversation of the issues that are in our community that bring a spotlight to the things that we want to talk about. So to everybody who was in the chat, everybody who was logged in, we appreciate you. We up out of here. Y'all have a blessed and wonderful day. A blessed and wonderful day. And Lord say the same. We'll see you tomorrow for Work It Out Wednesday. It's yours truly, Joe Dupree, and I'm signing off. Y'all have a good one. We up out of here. Peace.
Bumper to bumper, like LA in traffic. I write the lyrics, she made the captions. Who gon' direct you with all them theatrics? But of course, ain't that the way it's supposed to be? Supposed to be, it's supposed to be. Here with me, here with me, yeah. With me. Wait. Like New York and traffic, I make the features and do all the casting. Who gon' direct me with all these theatrics? But of course, go ahead and roll one, ain't gotta pass it. I play the role, but this ain't no acting. This show is over, but we can't be canceled. But of course, ain't that the way it's supposed to be? Supposed to be, supposed to be, it's supposed to be. Here with me, here with me. Cause you're here with me. Give me more than sex, yeah, I need to connect. Don't wanna wake up in the morning feeling sad and regretful. Don't wanna press, but when it's such, want you to make me feel special. But of course, give me more than sex, yeah, I need to connect. Don't wanna wake up in the morning feeling sad.